Here come the Irish.
WeAreNDNation.com is where you can go to get all your latest Notre Dame news, notes, and highlights on the season.
Touchdown Notre Dame!
Featuring the new We Are ND Nation podcast hosted by me, Evan J. Thomas, and special guests throughout the season.
No one comes into our house and pushes us around.
Make sure you check out the Tailgaters Show, the travels of Rudy the Golden Gnome, and more. Follow We Are ND Nation on the socials, WeAreNDNation.com.
We are ND Nation! Go Irish!
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the We Are ND Nation podcast. Evan J. Thomas here, along with former Notre Dame quarterback Malik Zaire. What's up, bud?
We're here, another one.
We are here. We have episode number 8, and this is our second year doing this. Last year, we only had a couple episodes. This year, we've only missed one, so we're kind of good so far. But we have probably the biggest win so far this year. What is the biggest win that Notre Dame had? Holy shit, what a defensive game that we had there. And then, wow, everything came about after the Coan injury. So let's start off with this. Number 9, Notre Dame. Well, now number 9, Notre Dame, also number 7 in the coaches poll. Won 41-13 against Wisconsin in the Shamrock Series game at Soldier Field. Brian Kelly passes Knute Rockne for most wins in program history with 106. We guess we can call the game the other day the Jack Coan revenge game.
He threw a touchdown there.
Then, like I said earlier, Coan left the game with an injury. Freshman Drew Pyne relieved him. And then after a little field goal that made the game 13-10 Wisconsin, Chris Tyree just blew the socks off the team by going back with a 96-yard kickoff return, making it 17-13. Malik, what did you think of that game overall?
I think we did a good job of playing at the level of expectation in a ranked game. For a game that I felt like a lot of people was teetering back and forth, I think we made a statement going in there and putting up the numbers that we did and closing the game out like we did as well. I think that was a huge boost for a defense that's been getting better every week. And, the first game we gave up a whole bunch of points, but this game against a ranked opponent, we did a lot better. So the trend is going upwards for our team, and let's continue that on another top 10 matchup.
Yeah, the last 2 weeks, we've given up 13 and 13 points, so we've kept it under 20. Like you said, the first game against Florida State, I think it was 38 we gave up, and there was, a 27 in there, something like that. So yeah, there's been a few little kind of but now, like you said, the defense is rolling. Okay, I got, police outside my house. I don't know what's up with that. I better run. But so anyways, just looking at that defense, holy shit, today it was 10-10, and then it all happened. You had Coan getting hurt, you had Drew Pyne coming in, you had the field goal, then you had the kickoff return. Pyne struggled a little bit, he lost a fumble. But before all that even happened, it was 10-10. Coan wasn't actually looking that good, and he was getting rocked.
Yeah, we're dealing with a more standard offensive line that you see around the country. It's not the Hall of Fame O-line just yet. We got some pieces here and there, but this is what a regular O-line looks with a guy that's a regular quarterback. I don't think we brought him in thinking he was going to be Trevor Lawrence or, a Hall of Fame college football quarterback. But for what we did get, there are some positives, for him to be able to manage a game with a lot of young guys and have us in all these games is a bonus. But for us to think that he's going to pull us through, top 10 matchups week after week, if that was the case, I don't think he would have left Wisconsin. But for what he's worth, I think that's what we're going to get. We're going to get an opportunity to win each game. And unfortunate that he went out, but he's a guy that, because he's a fifth-year senior, he gets better as the game goes on. Mm-hmm. And last week against Purdue, those numbers are the numbers that we can expect from a guy like that. I'm not expecting the Florida State numbers. I was looking more towards how he did Purdue, similar to how I felt like he would have did in this game, just enough not to lose it. I mean, it's better than throwing pick sixes at the end of the game, but
Yeah.
we did end up finding our stride. Drew Pyne's a guy that's the next man in mentality. He's a perfect backup quarterback type of situation to come fill in and not completely let us get uh, dismantled with a guy that was practicing all week is going out. And I think Coach Kelly has just made it a point that this year specifically, you talk a lot about transition, but it's more how do we get young guys that we don't know stepping up to the plate when they're called on.
And I really liked it when Pyne came in. I mean, I was again when Coan was struggling a little bit, and I'll just go off of Coan's numbers: 15 to 29 for 158 yards and 1 touchdown. This was all basically in 2+ quarters of play before he got injured. Pyne came in. He kind of for the first couple plays looked like a deer in headlights. He got rocked once.
Yeah.
He fumbled, and then he went 6 for 8 with 81 yards, a touchdown. Like I said, he did have the fumble loss. But one thing I noticed about Pyne that I didn't notice about Coan, Pyne was actually picking up where the blitzes were coming from and getting rid of the ball quicker. Coan was dropping back and kind of would duck down and then kind of run into the defensive line.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little easier when you're coming in when the other team's not expecting it. So anytime you see that in college football, even when Florida State did it to us, the guy came in super cold, but was ended up super hot, just like the Purdue quarterback. We wasn't expecting him to come in. He came in those last couple series and was looking like Drew Pyne did. Before he threw that pick to Kyle Hamilton, he was like perfect on the day. So whenever you get a guy that comes in prepared, that the other team is not expecting, you're gonna get games like we did with Drew Pyne. And the one thing we do know is that he may not start, but he'll be ready if he's called on. So he went in there and basically did his job. That's what Drew Pyne's there for as a 1C. If he was that all the time, he wouldn't be a 1C, So it just shows you what the team thinks of him, but the confidence that Coach Kelly had to go right to him and not miss a beat on the offense, that means a lot for the quarterback's preparation each week.
And talking about what Coach Kelly said after the game about Coan and his injury, he basically said Coan's our starter. If he's physically able to play, he will start against Cincinnati. And to me, again, Buckner was out with the hamstring and wasn't even available to play. Is that a worry now? Because that's been 2 weeks and, we expected him. To me, it was almost like Pyne was a forgotten man coming off the bench. It was like, oh, crap, who do we have as a quarterback now with Buckner out? Oh, yeah, that's right. Drew Pyne's here.
Yeah, it's super unfortunate when your backup quarterback has a hamstring injury. Like, who else in college football deals with something like that? But it shows that we wasn't really pushing the right development packages for Tyler Buckner.
Mm-hmm.
Why is he hurting like a running back injury as our backup quarterback? He's the 5-star that we believe he is. Then from what Jack's putting up every week on numbers, I don't know why we wouldn't put Tyler Buckner in a similar type of package, including the stuff that he's already going in for. I think it's not developing him the right way. And with him being out on the injury level, or something that's non-quarterback related almost, it's just probably frustrating for him to try to find that right stride, especially when you got the next minute mentality when guys like Drew Pyne come in and do well, So hopefully it doesn't affect the psyche of a Tyler Buckner. But then again, we have to adjust what we're looking at the coaching standpoint and saying, okay, if Jack goes down again, how can we not have Tyler out? You know what I mean? Not that they probably have a lot of confidence in Drew, but like I said, like you even said, Drew was a forgotten man. So there's something about Tyler that everybody likes, but we just got to keep him healthy.
And kind of foreshadowing a little bit, not wanting to get too far ahead, but if you look at 2022, you have 2 sophomore quarterbacks coming in vying for the quarterback position. You dealt with this as a player too. So you're going to have Buckner and Pyne going for that starting position. Do you possibly see a little, animosity if somebody wins it and then the other guy might want to transfer? I mean, I hate to, again, push it too soon, but after seeing Pyne and knowing what Buckner can do and could do, we're in limbo with that coming next year.
Yeah, just a disaster waiting to happen. I think it just makes the pot even thicker. Having a guy play well that was seemingly to be forgotten about in the course of the quarterback competition. It making it easier when the guy that you got starting is a fifth year.
Well,
So
that
it's not
actually
like
made it better for Kelly to actually figure out who was starting this year, was bringing in Coan, so you didn't have this issue as both guys as freshmen as well.
that's just kicking the can down the road.
Yeah.
Especially if during the year you're still treating it like a quarterback competition, limiting guys, packages, and anytime that's the case, you just can't treat this position like a receiver, like a other different type of skill position. Even the offensive line, how they just having guys move all over the place. Jared Patterson play a little tackle, play a little center, play a little right guard. That's different than a quarterback coming in just to run and coming in for one play and then coming out, and then you putting other quarterbacks in. It's going to be interesting to see how you develop an identity. Drew Pyne and Tyler Buckner are two opposites, in my opinion, and
Mm-hmm.
the offense are called two opposite ways. It's not like Coach Kelly is treating it the same. They're definitely not calling the same things for both guys. And so that's just going to create a bigger division in which direction you want to head, which is going to give some animosity towards both quarterbacks. Because if you think about it, you're seeing the differences. Okay, when I get in, they're calling this set of plays. When he get in, it's a whole different set. And I feel like I'm better at that set than the set I'm running. So more confusion to add to the pot. However, the most available guy is going to win the job. So hopefully Tyler gives it more than he takes it, and he can stay healthy.
Yeah, and as you stated earlier, so the offensive line looks like, they're not the Hall of Fame type offensive line that we've seen the past, like, half decade basically.
Yeah, we were spoiled. Come on.
So yeah, holy
Yeah,
shit. I mean, how
Ronnie
could you not get spoiled? You got
Stanley,
Ronnie Stanley, you got Zach Martin, you got
and
McGlinchey, you had
Nick Martin, his brother,
Nick Martin, you had
Quentin
Quentin
Nelson,
Nelson. Oh my God,
Steve Elmer, who could have went to the league, ended up going in politics. Like,
so I mean, you have five dudes at least right there in this offensive line. They're already on their fourth string left tackle. They've
yeah.
given up 20 sacks in 4 games. They had 25 all of last year. The one glaring stat, but this also goes to Wisconsin's defense. We have 3 net yards rushing. Kyron Williams, 18 carries, 33 yards. It's already been an issue the first 3 weeks, now 4 weeks with the running game. Do you think that's kind of hampering the offense a little bit? Because, I mean, even though we didn't come out as gangbusters on offense the past couple weeks, we're kind of losing some steam on the running game, it seems like.
Well, you got to look at, we're not losing steam when we have Tyler Buckner in there for the running game. So it just shows you that there's a difference in ability from the quarterback position. So if your quarterback's not mobile with a young offensive line, the equation will equal a fewer more sacks. When you get injured on the offensive line, you're on fourth string tackle, you got a guy that's not mobile, you're going to have more sacks. But then that's when they put in Tyler Buckner. We're doing all this 2 running back and read option and RPO stuff. I don't even think Tyler's been sacked this year unless he just straight up was in the backfield, dropping back and waiting forever.
That would have been the only time he would have, if at all.
Right. So you can see right there from just that small sample size that we don't have to let our offensive line look like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like we're choosing to have our offensive line, quote unquote, be exposed and young and can't block for the run. But we've already proven in this season that we can run the ball fine. It's just a different quarterback has to be in there for our run game to look like it has been in the past. But that just goes back to what do we want to do on offense? Do we want to Jack Coan Big Ten our way through the season? Or do we want to take the chance with the younger guy and let him make his mistakes early, put in the things that get the crowd excited and things that you feel like he's good at early? And then if it starts to get crazy at the end, put Jack back in the game, and you know what you're gonna get on that level. So
yeah, and actually I was talking about this during the game, and actually after looking after the game at the stats, Tommy Reese didn't call one screen pass to Kyron. And Kyron is fantastic out of the backfield catching the ball. 0 catches for Kyron Williams, 0 yards. So, I mean, they didn't really utilize him as they could have with Coan getting, basically, what did he get, sacked 4 times
Yeah.
or something like that? So why wouldn't you utilize your strengths more with Kyron or Chris Tyree coming out of the backfield catching the ball?
Now, I do think specifically for that game, they knew that they were going to have a challenge running. And I just think Tommy mixed it all together. He wasn't going to sit there and try to fit a square peg into a circle in his mind. So he was like, you know what? We're just going to do what we're more comfortable with, and that's throwing the ball. And, it worked out how it was supposed to. I mean, early on, Kevin Austin on that secondary, I liked the same type of plays we're running. Unfortunately, we got hurt, but the positive thing is this year, better than most years, we're looking better at adjusting through the course of the game than we was in the past. Last year, we wouldn't change anything. We'll just keep going at it. This year, we're doing a great job adjusting. Maybe that is because we got different players moving in and out, and you have to. With different offensive linemen each and every week, you got to stay up with what's going on, and we're doing a good job of it.
And you mentioned the name Kevin Austin, wide receiver. He had 6 catches, 76 yards, 2 touchdowns. That beautiful, beautiful slant over the middle for the touchdown from Pyne's first throw. We actually had a Michael Mayer sighting after 1 week of kind of disappearing. 7 catches, 61 yards. So they're utilizing their strengths again with the amazing wide receivers and pass catchers they have. But like I said, the one problem with me was the fact that Kyron Williams just didn't get off in his positions that he needed to get into. So they're finding what they.
I think that's a credit to Tommy as well. Tommy is clearly coaching week by week. He's not just sitting there and saying Kyron's our best player, so he's got to touch the ball at least 20 times.
Yeah, he's not pointing at little numbers just on his play thing.
He's not. I think that you can appreciate that for a coach that's in game and at least he's thoughtful of what's going on. And I think the fans would be much more frustrated if he was just Kyron's our best player. Let's just give it to him a whole bunch of times. I think we've done that in the past.
Yes.
With Josh Adams and CJ, and we've got those guys hurt. But Tommy kind of sees the more modernization of what offense can be, and the ball's being spread around beautifully. I mean, Avery Davis pops up every once in a while through each game and has impact plays. So I think that keeps the defense off balance.
All right. So speaking of defense now, I mean, obviously we talked a lot just about the offense. The defense for the season, giving up just over 23 points a game, gave up 240 passing yards, 1 touchdown with Graham Mertz as quarterback of the Badgers. We only gave up 78 yards rushing on 28 carries. So we had Malusi with 18 for 54. We had 4 interceptions, 1 sack. J.D. Bertrand again, linebacker, 8 tackles. Cam Hart, 2 interceptions. We had Jack Kaiser and Drew White each had a pick 6. And holy shit, was I running around like a maniac on each of those pick 6s. Running around. Whoa!
Yeah, that's right. This is the first time, not the first time, but one of the few times since the Michigan game when we beat them 31-3, that the defense was that exciting to watch. Usually I'm watching the game for the offense, to see what we're doing. But this game, especially the second half, to see our guys just making play after play after play, from sacks to picks to just hitting the quarterback to making good TFLs, seeing 14 fly around. And J.D. Bertrand just tackles consistently each and every week in the open field. That's very encouraging and very exciting to see from our defense. Cam Hart gave up a touchdown against Florida State and gets better each week. And now he has 2 picks and a pick 6 in that Wisconsin game. Shows that we're having fun, we're getting better, and we're liking to play behind Marcus Freeman.
And one little thing that I mentioned at the very beginning of the kickoff, we had Brian Kelly passing Knute Rockne for number 1 most wins in Notre Dame program history. What can you say about your former head coach and him passing the legendary Knute Rockne? 106 career wins at Notre Dame. Wow.
Yeah, you just got to give credit to that, Coach Kelly. I'm glad I got to get a chance to get my little couple wins in there to add to the bunch. But one thing you can appreciate about Coach Kelly is his consistency. I mean, he hasn't changed his message through thick, thin, hell or high water. He's continued to find solutions to different things that come in the program. And as a administrator or AD, that's what you love. When your head coach can handle the ups and downs. I mean, from all the crazy stuff that's happening at Notre Dame, for him to withstand all of that, that's a huge testament to his coaching acumen and the ability to continue to keep the ball rolling. Next minute mentality for real. It's got him these wins, and it's something to be celebrated. It's not an easy thing to do, even though he won't acknowledge it because he keeps saying he needs a national championship. I mean, it's hard to find your replacement. So,
And it's always funny when like the Notre Dame and Kelly haters come out and they're like, "Oh, well, you could just get Saban or what's his name from Jacksonville now,
or Urban Meyer.
Urban." It's like, stop it! You're not gonna get those guys. So, yeah, Kelly is the man for the job.
The next best thing. He's just the man for the job at this point. So
he's been there for 12 years. He knows a change. He's good at adjusting. He's changed his whole personality basically from the irate, crazy, red-faced guy yelling at everybody on the sideline to, hey, you know what? You take over. This is how it's going to go.
Yeah, I mean, he's evolved, and
rare
in college football, you get to see a coach evolve and be in the same position for a long time. But he knew what he was doing when he left Cincinnati early. He got off that plane right before the game. He had a game plan to stay for a long time in Notre Dame, and it's all coming full circle. The game after you break the record, you play your team, you left. So, football has a funny way of telling good narratives.
Yeah. So congratulations to Kelly. And I just like how humble he was afterwards, basically saying, he can't ever live up to Knute's. He doesn't have the titles. And that's basically what all he said. He said he has everything else but the title, which I agree.
Yeah, that's like everything else but the last Infinity Stone, right?
Okay. So we're about to go to break. Are you ready for this week's Name That Former ND Player?
I'm trying to get a streak going. Let's get it.
All right. Yeah. So I actually looked it up. I wanted to go back to make sure I didn't double up on any of these players that I've already done. So we've done this 5 times with you. You're actually 2 wins, 3 losses. So not too bad.
Let's get to 500.
Yeah, let's get to 500. So you ready for this week? Here we go. Okay. Former wide receiver, played from 2002 to 2005. Total of 130 catches for his career, 2,195 yards, 18 touchdowns. Remember, 2002 to 2005. You're a little tyke then, so.
This would be a tough one.
That was my first game in 2004. I got to see him in 2004, and I saw all those blue gold games up until then. So at least I got to see him play. He was drafted into the NFL, so that I will actually give you a little bit another little tidbit. All right.
Help me out.
Think you know?
I think.
Okay. So we're going to go to break. We're going to come back. Malik Zaire, Evan J. Thomas here. We are ND Nation podcast, and I think I might have stumped him really good.
That's okay, I'm try.
All right. So we'll be right back. Stick right here. We are ND Nation.
Here come the Irish.
WeAreNDNation.com is where you can go to get all your latest Notre Dame news, notes, and highlights on the season.
Touchdown Notre Dame!
Featuring the new We Are ND Nation podcast hosted by me, Evan J. Thomas, and special guests throughout the season.
No one comes into our house and pushes us around.
Make sure you check out the Tailgaters Show, the travels of Rudy the Golden Gnome, and more. Follow We Are ND Nation on the socials, WeAreNDNation.com.
We are ND Nation! Go Irish!
National Coffee Day. Gotta have my coffee. There we go.
National Coffee Day. Yeah.
It is. All right, back here on the We Are ND Nation podcast, I am Evan J. Thomas. That on the other side of me is Mr. Malik Zaire, former Notre Dame quarterback. And today is National Coffee Day, as he and I were just talking about during break.
That's right.
On my trusty old Badass Productions Cup, which is my company. So we were before break talking about name that former ND player. Malik is now 2-5 on his career on getting them correct or wrong, whichever way you want to go with them. So I think I might have stumped him on this one. So we're going to go over the stats of who this person was. Former wide receiver, played from 2002 to 2005. 130 receptions for his career, 2,195 yards, 18 total touchdowns, and he was drafted in the NFL. Malik, what do you think? Who do you got?
Is it I feel like, is it Mark Stovall?
Hold on, what? Who?
Is it let's see, I must say it wrong. I was good. My first thought was saying
Stick with the last name. Stick with the last name. Who did you say?
I said Stovall. Is that right? Or close?
Boom!
I got it. Let's go.
Mr. Maurice Stovall.
Yeah, Maurice Stovall. Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
Let's go.
You are at 50%.
Turn on. That's what
F grade. It is an F
about.
grade. But in baseball, that's a playoff team. So in
Yeah.
NFL, that's a playoff team. In college, you don't even make the bowl game. So
you don't make a bowl game.
But great job on that one. Holy shit, I thought I had you good.
Oh, man, hey, I remember it because he came and visited us one time, and he was teaching receivers a crazy release off the line.
Do you remember what number he was? He's my
81. He was my boy's number, wasn't he? 81 or 80?
No, 21. My favorite number because of Deion Sanders. I absolutely love that number. So that's my guy. And actually, he was my favorite player for that time during the 2002 to 2005 season, before Brady Quinn, kind of right before. Yeah. So we got that. All right. So we're going to switch gears. We're going to start talking a little bit about some big game we have coming this coming week. So we have Cincinnati coming in. Yes, we have Cincinnati coming in. I think, oh my gosh, what are they? Ranked 7th in the AP poll. So they're a few ticks ahead of us. Again, I think we can call this a Brian Kelly revenge game, even though he hasn't been there for over a decade. So does that really matter? I mean, nah. But you know he wants to just win anyway. So we have the game this Saturday. It's Notre Dame at Notre Dame Stadium in South Bend, 1:30 kickoff on NBC. Cincinnati's averaging 43 points a game on offense, 420 yards per game, and giving up only 15 plus points per game on defense. What are you looking forward to during this game? Because, Cincinnati's ranked pretty good.
Yeah, I think this would be a really good challenge for our defense to go against the top-rated quarterback for the draft this year. This is not the only one we'll face. We got Sam Howell down the line, but it'll be a good challenge for our defense to snub out a first-round talent at quarterback. He's the reason why they're in that position that they're in. I think for Marcus Freeman, this is also another statement game, going against a team that's ranked in the top 10, and to get better each week. This week's a different challenge than last week. Last week was about physicality. This week, I feel like it'll be tackling an open space. We got 14 back on the defense, so I feel good in the backfield. It'll just be good for us to see that continuity from week to week on our progression. Like you said earlier, this is another game for Notre Dame because each week it feels like a lot of pressure. Nobody else is playing on Sunday nights when nobody else is watching. Nobody else is playing NFL stadiums this early against top 25 opponents this early. So for us, it's not so much of a big game like it is for a Cincinnati team that has been fighting so hard to prove that they're even worth it. The Georgia game put them in a good position for this game, but they have more to lose, in my opinion, than we do, because if we go out there and do what we're supposed to do and they lay an egg, they may fall out of the top 15 and might not get back in it due to the rest of their schedule. So it's a lot at stake. I think Coach Kelly have a soft spot in his heart for it just because that's the last school he's been at. But then again, Cincinnati's going to come out passionate, and I'm excited to see the match.
Now, I'm going to go a little bit against you on what you just said. You said Cincinnati has the most to lose. I actually think Notre Dame does, because being the fact that they've moved up so much, and we beat Wisconsin. Now we have Cincinnati at home. So if we were in Cincinnati, I think it would be a different story. But we have them at home. If we lay an egg, I could see the same thing. Notre Dame dropping totally out of the top 15 and even farther. And you know how the polls have it for Notre Dame when they lose. They usually drop down pretty far, depending on the score.
But we're a better team. That's why it's like,
Oh, 100. I agree.
like for instance, Clemson last year, even without Trevor Lawrence when they came, I didn't really know due to the fact that I thought we was good, but Clemson was in my opinion, more talented overall.
Oh yeah.
We're way more talented than Cincinnati, so that by that age, I don't think there's pressure on a player perspective to where they feel like they're going to be outmatched. This is a game where if we don't do what we're supposed to do, in my opinion, it'll make it hard for us because this is not a terrible team, but it's a team that needs to be put out of misery early.
And I like how you put that because I kind of see if Coan's struggling, if he's starting, as of right now, we know he is. So hopefully he's going to be the starter. But if Coan's starting and he's struggling again, and it's like a close game, if it's 10-10 or something like that, I could see a possible change happening. But obviously, like you said, you want to start off early. You want to get out of the gate, which Notre Dame really hasn't done yet this year. So that's going to be the struggle. And obviously trying to get the offensive game going. And the fact that Cincinnati's only given up 15 points per game, this is their test on defense is against us this week. Do they have the horses to kind of compete with our wide receivers and Mayer? I mean, who's going to cover Mayer on that team? I mean, I don't see anybody.
That's no good. Yeah, nobody's covering Mayer. And that's why it's not a lot for us to, I mean, it's a lot for us to lose, obviously, from the consequences of losing. I don't think losing is on the mind of our team. Mm-hmm. Not that it ever would be, but I don't think they're sweating it like, oh my goodness, we're playing Alabama this week. Everything's gotta be perfect. I think they're very aware of who they're playing, but looking on paper, I feel like it'll be hard for them to overexcite themselves about what's coming.
And looking on paper, we have Cincinnati's quarterback is Desmond Ridder. He's 65.1% pass completion so far, 748 yards on the season, 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and sacked 5 times in 3 games. The running back, Jerome Ford, 50 carries, 300 yards, 6.0 yards per carry, and 6 touchdowns. So he's putting up some numbers. And then Cincinnati has a bevy of wide receivers that I see here. They got Tyler Scott, Alec Pierce, Jaden Thompson, Michael Young Jr. And though our DBs, we could hang with anybody, it just seems like.
Yeah.
So I'm not too worried about the DBs. It's more the running game that I kind of see a little struggle with.
Well, when you got a guy like number 14, Kyle Hamilton, and J.D. Bertrand back there, who's been, he's looking like Harrison out there, the way he's plays and just being so consistent. So I think defensively, this is a great matchup for us, considering we're probably going to be bigger than them in the front 7. So our linebackers are going to be right to fit these holes for that running game, as opposed to Wisconsin where we had a little worry because we know they're going to run up the gut. And we didn't know at the time whether, our linebackers were missing some fields, at that point. So this week, we cleared that up. I feel confident that we can figure out a run game if we handle Wisconsin's like we did. So that'll hopefully make it one-dimensional. And if the game is all put on Desmond Ridder, I feel really good because it's hard to go in there as a quarterback and just win it yourself. Last time I saw that was Trevor Simon from Northwestern. That was a crazy game.
So one thing actually I noticed right before we even got on to do this podcast, there's some bulletin board material from Ridder. So I don't know what you saw of it, and I think he said something that Notre Dame Stadium can be really, really. A coach told Ridder the Notre Dame Stadium can be really.
Denbrock told Ridder. Let's put it out there. Let's call the names. Coach Denbrock.
Okay, yeah. Say who it is. I mean, if you saw it, feel free, bring it up.
Basically, Coach Denbrock told him it's louder than you think, and Desmond just responded by saying it'll be loud, but not for long.
Yeah.
My thing is, I don't know how you thought you was gonna win in the first half. The game ain't a first half game. It's a full game. So unless you're saying you're gonna put up 35 points in the first half, I don't know if it's probably gonna be all game, So we like it. It'll be good to get somebody that at least feels confident going in there against us to see how we respond to it. I don't think we need any more motivation considering we're not in no conference. So every game for us is a Super Bowl game. And so they're just another team on the docket, but hopefully they're not overselling themselves because we need those points after we beat them to get in the playoffs later in the year.
And Cincinnati is also coming off a bye week, so this is the second out of I think 6 on the year that we play a team after their bye week. So they've had time to kind of scheme for Notre Dame and their offense and also their defense. But like you mentioned,
Interesting fact, Coach Kelly's 13-2 after teams having bye weeks and playing this. So I think
good stat. I didn't see that one, but 13-2, huh?
Coming off of teams playing there, coming off of the other teams' bye weeks. And, Coach Kelly knows what he's doing, man. That's a man of consistency. So it's not like that. They're in trouble. I think the other team's in trouble.
I'm trying to think who those 2 losses to. I'm probably figuring a USC game in there because they always play us after freaking bye.
Yeah.
And probably Stanford because they're the same way. So unless there's somebody else in there that we're missing, those are the 2 most common factors of teams who play us after bye weeks. And, we got pretty good numbers against both teams in recent years, but in Kelly's time, there's a possibility of that loss. So, yeah.
One of those trips probably came after we go to California. Any trip we go to California during the Kelly era, it's been hard.
So I think you were saying I see this game against Cincinnati being that Cincinnati almost has to play a perfect offensive game to be able to beat us at home. How do you see that being that way? Because, with our defense and what we can do on offense and what we can do, that, Cincinnati, like you said, at the very beginning, you see them being more the ones with more to lose, which I differ a little bit. But
Cincinnati's, because they're less talented overall, and if we're looking at paper by paper or player to player, their biggest difference is are they going to not have any turnovers on the offensive side, and then special teams has to have an impact. They can get a kick block or a kick return or punt return. That'll give them a higher chance of winning in an environment like that. So if their special teams come to make a play, maybe block one and get one on a return, it'll make it a lot tougher for us to come out with the victory. But offensively, they give us, I'll say, even one, at most 2, it'll be a different game for them.
Exactly. So you ready to go with your picks for the week?
I'm ready. Let's get it.
All right. You want me to go first, or you want to go first this week?
You should start.
Again? Damn it. All right. So last week, I think I had Notre Dame winning last week. I predicted 31-27. I thought at halftime there was no chance my score was even going to get past 30. But holy shit, we got 41. So, hey, that worked out. This week, I have Notre Dame winning 37-27. I don't know why I gave Cincinnati so many points, but I think because they're going to kind of get maybe lucky.
Yeah, they're going to put up something.
They're going to put up something, but I see Notre Dame putting up more and kind of shocking Cincinnati's defense a little bit, kind of making them look like deer in headlights at times because they'll be like, what just happened? Oh, my God, what just happened? Michael Mayer over the middle. Whoa. So there's my prediction. 37-27. Notre Dame wins.
I like that because I'm actually going 31-14. I think the defense, will give up, let's say 31-17. I think the defense will give up one explosive play or another some point in the game. And it's either they're going to start hot or finish hot. So I'm thinking that they're going to finish hot. They might have a squeeze a touchdown in there late. But 17-31, I think just because of the nature of the game, we're going ground and pound. Kyron's going to have a huge game. And so I got us winning like that.
I like the idea of Kyron getting a huge game because I think he needs it and the team needs it going forward for the rest of the year. This is kind of a statement game for the offensive line and the running game to kind of get on track and be like, yeah, don't take us for granted. We can still do this and we'll run it down your throat.
That's right.
Boom. I think that's it. So what do you have going on this week? Do you have figuring Friday Night Football?
Yeah, got some Friday Night Football. We're going against our rival Milliken.
And how was your rivalry game?
playing. So the school is built just like us, just in reverse. So it's bad blood. We got to go out there and do our thing.
Awesome. Well, Malik, again, thank you for joining me. Follow Malik all over the socials. Malik Zaire on Facebook and Instagram and where else?
Wherever else, just hit me up.
And again, feel free and like his food photos. Those things are killing me every time I see it. Every time. Make sure you're following me all over the socials. Evan J. Thomas on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And We Are ND Nation is on Facebook. We're on YouTube, which is where you can see this episode. And if you really want to go back to any of the other ones and watch our dumbasses, you could. So we're there. And then we're also on Instagram and Twitter. And wearendnation.com is where you can find all the fun stuff that we do together.
All right, man. Good show.
So we're looking to 5-0, starting the season, hopefully. Cincinnati coming our way. And until next week, my man, you know what to do, right?
That's right. Let's go, baby. Let's go, Notre Dame. Let's get right.
Go Irish.
Go Irish, baby. Go.
Here come the Irish.
WeAreNDNation.com is where you can go to get all your latest Notre Dame news, notes, and highlights on the season.
Touchdown Notre Dame.
Featuring the new We Are ND Nation podcast hosted by me, Evan J. Thomas, and special guests throughout the season.
No one comes into our house and pushes us around.
Make sure you check out the Tailgaters Show, the travels of Rudy the Golden Gnome, and more. Follow We Are ND Nation on the socials, weareNDNation.com.
We are ND Nation. Go Irish!